If you're a Gen X, say 45 to 60-ish, and you're waiting for that one magical retirement date to finally feel free, guys, I really want you to stop and think about this for a moment. You may not be able to walk away from your job tomorrow. You may still need that paycheck, the health insurance, the routine, or maybe you're still trying to catch up financially. But that doesn't mean retirement has to be this faraway thing that you're only allowed to enjoy later. There's a way that you can actually start to begin retiring before you fully retire. And I don't mean quitting your job without a plan. I mean taking back pieces of your life right now, your time, your money, your health, your identity, and your choices. Because retirement is not just a date on a calendar, it's simply a shift in control. And the sooner you begin practicing that shift, the less trapped you're going to feel. The first thing many people need to retire from is debt. Debt is not just a bill. Debt is a claim on income you haven't even earned yet. Part of next month's paycheck may already belong to a credit card company or a car lender or some payment plan you agreed to a long time ago. And the closer you get to retirement, the more it matters. According to the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, retirement planning is tied directly to household balance sheets, savings, debt, and pensions. So, in plain English, what you owe affects how much freedom you really have. Now, I'm not saying that every person needs to race off and pay a low interest mortgage if doing that would drain your emergency savings. Now, that's a personal decision, but carrying a high interest consumer debt into retirement is totally different. Now, I'm talking about credit cards or personal loans or unnecessary car payments. Those could become a heavy backpack you're still carrying as you make your way into retirement, and you're supposed to be slowing down. So, one way to start retiring today is to create a debt exit plan. Pick one debt, give it a deadline, attack it, then ask yourself, what would my life feel like if this payment disappeared? Now, every payment you eliminate lowers the amount of income you need, and that gives you more choices. The second thing to retire from is careless spending. Now, I'm not talking about enjoying life. And I'm not saying you should never go out to dinner or never buy something nice or live like retirement is some kind of punishment, because it's not. I'm talking about the spending that happens without thought, the subscriptions you forgot about, the insurance policy you never reshopped, the phone plan you've had forever. I know this month AT&T just raised their prices. What about the Amazon order you barely remember making? Have you ever had that where your doorbell rings and there's a package for you and you simply don't remember ordering it? Unfortunately, that happens to me too. The little convenience purchases that don't feel serious in the moment, but they add up quietly in the background. When you have a steady paycheck, careless spending is a little easier to ignore. But in retirement, guys, that changes the game. In retirement, your money needs a job. It has to support you in your lifestyle, your health, your housing, and your future. So, guys, you need to start practicing right now. Pick one week, track every single dollar, go through all your subscriptions. You can even download for free Rocket Money, and they'll help you cancel some of the subscriptions you no longer want. In some cases, I've had seniors where they've had multiple subscriptions to the exact same service. They simply forgot. Guys, look at your bank statements like a detective, not with any guilt, but with curiosity. Ask yourself, is this purchase going to give me the value that I thought it was? Or was this just a habit? If it was a habit, see if you can return it. You have a certain window with places like Amazon. Now, that's how you begin to retire before retiring. You stop letting money leak out of your life without permission. Now, the third thing to retire from is any habit that is stealing from your future body. What does that mean? This is where retirement becomes more than financial because what good is more free time if you don't have the energy, the mobility, or health to enjoy it? The CDC says older adults benefit from regular activity, strength training, and balance work. Now, that's not about becoming a fitness model, but it is about staying strong enough to live the retirement life you're trying to build. And don't rush to do it. That's only going to damage your body. Do a little bit each day and build up gradually. And this is so important because our 50s and our 60s are often when the bill starts to show up. Too much sitting around, too much junk food, too much drinking or smoking, staying in consistent stress, or living in like a negative life where you're always down and upset. These habits just don't cost money, but they cost energy, they cost sleep, they cost confidence. And yes, they can cost you years of your life. But here's the good news, guys. You are not stuck. You can still change. You can still rebuild. You can still become the kind of person who walks every morning, stretches, lifts light weight, eats better, gets outside, goes for a walk with your dog, protects your mental space. Guys, you're not just saving money for retirement, but you're preparing the person who has to live for it. Guys, the fourth thing to retire from is lifestyle maintenance. Now, this is the weight of your life you have to build. The house that takes too much work, the garage full of stuff, the storage units, the extra vehicle, the old hobby supplies. There's lots of ways to get rid of the quality items that you have. Sometimes, guys, our possessions stop feeling like things we own and start feeling like things that own us. And here is the trap. A lot of people say, I'll deal with that after I retire. But do you really want to spend your first year or two of retirement cleaning out a garage or sorting through old paperwork, trying to figure out what to do with all the stuff you stopped using 10 years ago? Guys, you have to start now. Clean one closet, cancel one thing, sell one item, organize one drawer, simplify one account. Make one part of your life easier to manage. Retirement is not only about having enough money, it's about having enough energy left to enjoy your life. Guys, the fifth thing to retire from is depending upon your job to define who you are. Now, this one is big for Gen X, 45 to 60 ish. Many of us were raised to work hard, to keep going, to handle responsibilities, and not to complain. After decades of that, work can become more than a paycheck. It becomes your schedule, your social life, your purpose. And a lot of times, actually, most times, it becomes your identity. So when people fear retirement, they're not always afraid of running out of money. Sometimes they're just afraid of losing the shape of their life. Now, that's why you can't wait until your last day of work to start building the next version of yourself. But what I'm telling you is you need to start creating identity outside of the job right now. Just think about it. When you're at a party, somebody asks you, what do? You basically give them your job title, but that's not what they asked you. Okay? It's different in retirement. What are you going to say when somebody asks you, what do you do? Maybe you become the person who gets up and walks every morning. Maybe you become a volunteer. Maybe you reconnect with faith or family or music or gardening or writing. I've got a good friend that does woodworking, and I've shown this a couple of times. This is something that he actually made for me. You put your phone on it right here. And now that he's in retirement, he sells these things on Etsy. I was lucky enough that he gave me one when I gave him some retirement help. Guys, the goal is to build a reason to get up that doesn't depend on a supervisor or a title or even a paycheck. Because if work is the only thing that gives your life structure, then, guys, retirement is going to feel like a cliff. But if you begin building non work structure right now, retirement feels less like an ending and more like a transfer. All right, now the sixth thing to retire from is depending completely on one paycheck. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone needs some type of a side hustle. They're nice to have. I did when I first retired, and it wasn't for the money. It was to give me an activity, something to do. It means retirement becomes less scary when you build options. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that many Americans aged 65 and older still participate in the labor force, either by choice or maybe necessity. And the Social Security Administration also reminds that people working before full retirement age can affect your benefits through the retirement earnings test. So, this isn't something that you guess at. You need to fully understand your numbers. For some people, the bridge into retirement may include some part time work. It did for me for, I think, 3.5 years, and I loved it. For others, it may be a smaller job. Maybe you use some of your personal skills like consulting or savings or pension or Social Security, rental income, and dividends, or simply lowering your expenses. The goal is not to hustle forever. The goal is to feel happy, satisfied, and content, not trapped. When you lower your expenses, when you reduce debt, when you build your savings, when you have your emergency fund, and create even one additional option, your job loses the power it has over your life. And that's how you begin retiring before you fully retire. So here's a question for you. How do you retire before fully retiring? I'm really curious. If you'd answer that question and put it down in the comment section below, I'd love to know how you are planning to retire before you fully retire. Start taking pieces of your life back. You retire old debt. That's the first thing you retire. Guys, you may not be done working yet, but you can start feeling freer today. That's the message Gen X, and those are people 46 to 61, needs to hear. Retirement is not just something that happens later. It's something you can start building right now, one decision at a time. All right, my friends, if this video gave you something to think about, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up. I'd love to know that you appreciated this video and consider subscribing. Also, what's really important, because I read every single one of them, is would you give me a comment down below and tell me what's the one thing you're going to start to retire? Now, if you are retired, leave a comment down below and let me know what are the one, two, three things that you chose to retire before you became fully retired. As always, my friends, thank you for being a part of my community. Be sure you catch us on YouTube And be sure you catch us on SKOOL. That's SKOOL.com. All right, my friends, stay strong, stay intentional, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.